Now to that dramatic criminal trial of disgraced superstar R. Kelly. We heard closing arguments today as the jury prepares to take this case of alleged sex abuse and racketeering. We couldn't bring cameras into court, but we are joined now by attorney Bernardo Villalona with Joey Jackson Law, who's been carefully tracking this trial. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, Bernardo.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with the prosecution. They summed up their case by arguing that R. Kelly wasn't just sexually and physically abusive to girls, boys, and adult women, but that he used a network of people to essentially entrap his victims and silence them. How well do you feel that they made this argument?
So first off, the prosecution, their closing arguments lasted about 6 hours. So they started yesterday and finished up today. However, in those 6 hours, they were very detailed in how this enterprise, the inner circle of R. Kelly, assisted him, enabled him to be able to carry out these sexual acts with these young ladies for so many years. I think the prosecution did a great job in going victim by victim and showing how their testimony is corroborated and why the jury can believe what they're saying and how is it that this enterprise enabled that to go on for so long.
And the defense has been arguing that R. Kelly was the innocent one, painting his accusers as the greedy fame seekers here. Did they present compelling evidence to that effect?
So the defense attorney today summed for about 2 hours and 40 minutes. And their entire closing argument, they were saying, of course, R. Kelly is the victim. He is the king of R&B, and that these women were out there for money. These were groupies. They wanted his money. And when you hear of surviving R. Kelly, they were actually surviving off of R. Kelly. And that was the theme throughout his closing argument, that all these women and some of their family members were after him because they wanted his money. They wanted to live his life, that they are now saying that these things happen against their consent because now they don't have that money. They're looking to sue. They're looking for book deals. And that's why they have to say what they're saying now.
As an experienced trial lawyer yourself, how do you see this case playing out to the jury? Who wins the day here?
Look, I'm going to tell you, so both sides have done an excellent job in terms of their closing arguments. It's going to come down to those 12 jurors to determine whether those victims, Jane Doe's 1 through 6, or actually hearing from 2 to 6, plus the uncharged victims, whether they believe what they're saying. Because in terms of physical evidence, there is little to none. However, what the prosecution is relying on is on testimony. However, for the defense, I have to say, you know, there are strength and numbers, and that is what the prosecution has on their side, is that one, they put on 45 witnesses. They were able to put on many witnesses to corroborate the long history of how R. Kelly was treating these women, how he indoctrinated these women, how he gaslit these women, how he isolated them and made them dependent on him. And that's why they weren't able to leave on their own. But for years, sexual exploitation, talking about kidnapping, bribery. There are a lot of charges against R. Kelly, and it's going to be a long deliberation for that jury to get through all those charges. But in the end, you need those 12 jurors to find that the prosecution proved that case beyond a reasonable doubt if they want a conviction in this case.
Okay, so at least you're thinking at this point it's going to be a long deliberation. So we shall see. We'll be tuning in and keeping up to date with this case. Bernardo Villalona, we thank you so much for your expertise and your time tonight.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.